Hello, everyone. This is Megan,
And this is Alana.
and welcome to Tea Time Crimes. Hello, everybody. How you doing, Alana?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh,
It's my podcasting voice.
it's excellent. Excellent.
Thanks.
You have a lot of podcasting voices that I have come to love.
yeah, I do.
There you go. Yeah, they're the creepster ones. So what's going on? What's new with you?
I have the house to myself this weekend.
Oh,
So,
fun.
yeah, just doing a lot of rolling around.
What's that
Chris
mean?
and I are generally healthy people, but usually when one of us is out, the other one just like goes really unhealthy, which doesn't really make sense because we're healthy people by ourselves too. But like, I got chewy spree and some Takis, and I'm just chowing down and living life to the fullest. I also don't eat as much when he's around because he eats a lot. You know what I mean? Like if Brad wasn't there, you probably wouldn't be having these huge meals like our carnivores enjoy.
I don't know. I like to pack it away. And
I'm more of a grazer.
also, what I'm getting from this is that Chris is eating your daily intake of calories, and we should be concerned.
No. He eats more.
And you should just buy more food.
He eats more than me, but I just like, because we cook a lot more when he's here, I'll eat more.
Okay. And I'm of the mindset that no food is good or bad. So if you're craving some sour candies, then cool.
No, I don't feel bad about it. I mean, like, yeah, I don't think you could say sour candy's healthy, but
it could be. I think
felt
it could
good
fill
about
an
it.
emotional need that is a healthy choice for you.
Yeah, I was happy doing it.
There you go. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Doing it. Me, my chewy spree, my Takis, and watching Reservation Dogs, which is very underrated. Everybody should watch it. It's on Hulu, but Hulu doesn't sponsor us. But they liked one of my tweets once. Okay, stop. I'm done.
Wow. A lot came out there. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, a lot of recommendations. A lot happening.
Yep.
Awesome.
What about you?
I mean, just like your normal chaos. The kiddo had a really bad ear infection, so luckily he's feeling better. And he was starting to feel better last night, and he says to me, "Hey, Mommy, why is ass a bad word?"
Stop it.
I'm like, and because I'm like, is he saying that or is he saying ask?
Oh.
So I said, what's that? Why is ass a bad word? I said, and so I'm like, what do you say? I mean, I don't know why it's a bad word. Is it like, what kind of question is that? I have no idea. So I pause for a second and I said, well, words aren't really bad, but it's how people use them.
There you go. That's good.
Like ass, for example, it technically could mean donkey. So if you were talking about a donkey, that wouldn't be bad. But if you were calling somebody an ass, that would be bad because it's mean.
That ass.
And he's like, oh, okay. And then I think I've put it to bed. Like I've satisfied all of his interrogational needs. And then this morning he looks up at me and goes, hey, Mommy. I said, yeah.
Oh, no.
Sorry, my ass is in your yard. I said, what's that? He goes, sorry, my ass is in your yard. I said, what are you saying? And he said, my donkey. Sorry, my donkey's in your yard.
Oh
no.
My God.
No. Hopefully donkey doesn't come up a lot because he's just going to be using it all over the place just to get that word out. I said, well, people don't really say that too often. They might literally think your butt is in their yard. He goes, oh, okay. I didn't know. Yeah, okay. Oh, there you go. Good
Having
stuff.
kids, man. What a journey.
God, the questions. I don't know. I would say 92% of what I'm asked as a mother. I don't know. Only thing I know is where stuff is. Other than that, I know nothing. I don't know. I don't know why that happened. I don't know why it does that. I don't know how that works. I don't know why it was invented. I don't know why people say that. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But your yogurt's on the top shelf.
You need one of those books that says, those coffee table books where it's like, like the basic questions, like stuff like that, where it like explains like concepts that you don't really know. You know they exist, right? Like, how does a microwave work? I don't think I could tell you. Or radio.
Yeah. Like, what's gravity? Oh, I mean, I know what gravity is, but how do I explain that to a 5-year-old? And I mean, I'm not a scientist. Like, I got the general rules. I basically threw something in the air and let it fall, and I said, that's gravity. And then I just walked away.
Perfect. I mean, that's a very real life example.
I don't know. You think why is ass a bad word would be in this coffee table book?
No.
Yeah, I mean, see, we're going off book already, and I'm just not prepared. Anyway, I'm just glad it was ass and not something worse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to, I don't know how you navigate that.
I don't know.
Because then you're like giving words power. You know what I mean? It's
exactly.
Like you don't want to do that.
I don't want to build it up too mumuch because I didn't want him thinking he had like ass in his holster for like a really bad moment. I just wanted to like diffuse
Mama,
it.
Mama, get your ass over here.
Yeah, right. Just to really shock and awe us, because Brad will probably react very differently to that question than I would.
Yeah,
he's much more sensitive to the swears.
Oh,
yeah, that's the difference between me growing up with my father and Brad not. So swears don't faze me in the same way.
No.
I feel like New Englanders just really let it fly in general.
Yeah, right. Because it's like just how you talk.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
You know what they say about certain regions of the country? Like the Northeast acts mean but is nice. The South acts nice but is mean. You know?
Rude. Like
the Northeast, toss some money at a homeless person and say, like, F off, but you're like doing a nice gesture. But like, there's that attitude about it, but they're like generally, they have that goodness. They're not trying to polish any edges up there.
That's for sure. We are all raw, sharp corners.
There you go. I love it.
Anyway.
I love the Northeast.
Anyway, he's feeling better, and now he says there's 3 meanings for the word ass, and he's very excited about it. A donkey, a person, and a literal butt. So there you go.
He's not wrong. It's very exciting.
Yeah. All right. What do you got for your tea today?
I have something exciting. It's from some friends for my birthday. It's called Tea Forte. And I'll post it. It's this beautiful box of different kinds of teas. It's very cute. I'll post this too. It has this is the little tea bag string. It's like a little leaf.
She's going to try to show us stuff on the podcast until she dies. Guys, until she dies.
It's just you.
Yeah, it's a triangle with a paper leaf on it. I'm glad I'm here to catch you up.
Very good. Very good. I don't know. That's not marketing. Branding. No, I don't know. Design. Got it.
There it is.
So this one, there's different teas, and they say like serenity, defense.
Oh, it's kind of like our Aqua Tofana.
Yeah.
The new fragrance.
And so this one is Purify.
Ooh.
So I felt like I could use some purification.
Oh no, I had one little Sour Patch Kid in my baby belly, and now I need to purify.
Have you eaten a whole bag of Takis at once?
I don't even know what Takis are, to be honest with you.
They're like hot Cheetos.
I was hoping I could get through the whole episode without that coming to light, but you keep talking about it.
They're like the Gen Z hot Cheetos.
Man, Gen Z is coming for us.
I know they are.
All I'm getting in my feed are millennial makeovers, and I look like every millennial in the before picture. And to be honest, I don't really see the difference in the after picture, and I just don't feel like I have the energy.
Yeah, forget it.
To try to appear younger. I am what I am. Just give me my glasses and my wicker purse and let me be.
I refuse to wear bell bottoms. You can't make me.
You look good in bell bottoms.
No, I don't want to. Okay.
You've got those long legs.
You know what?
Sorry, back to your tea.
Okay, so going with the Purify, and it's, oh boy, a mellow yet juicy citrus-forward blend with the purifying mate and dandelion root.
I hate juicy and I hate dandelion.
Dandelions are a great thing to forage.
Yeah, here it comes.
You can make a salad out of the greens.
You could, or you could just buy lettuce at the grocery store and have it taste good. Both are good.
No, dandelion greens have a little bit of pepperiness to them.
Yeah, you know what else tastes like pepper? Actual peppers.
You're too much. Also, I'm going to post this. Well, when I took my pictures of my tea bag, I designed it. Like, I set the scene with this teacup.
You have to explain. So again.
Oh.
let me just.
Hold on. So Megan got me a lot for my birthday, and one of the was a cup that says "Be careful, or you'll end up in my podcast," which means we'll kill you. Just kidding, we're not criminals.
God, that is not what I meant at all. What the heck?
Well, we have a true crime podcast.
Yeah, but you mentioned people all the time in the beginning.
Right.
You nut.
Special listeners.
Also, I think that be careful would be like, hey, don't murder people or you'll end up in our podcast. But way to take it incredibly violent.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, don't cross me. Like, don't.
That's exactly how you would take it.
Don't be rude.
Yeah.
Don't be an ass.
Why don't you go draw a picture of all the soft spots on the body and get back to me when you're ready for your tea?
No, I'm really bad. I'm a bad artist, visual artist.
I imagine you have like an anatomy poster on your wall and just like a couple spots are circled so that you just know what's up. You're like, okay, throat, groin, armpits.
I definitely have a book.
Stop. All right, taste it.
I can. It's very, very herbal, or as we say, herbal. Okay, wait, hold on. My hands smell like soap, so I gotta move them away from the cup. But then I also have to hold the cup. It's a balance over here.
Okay, not sure why you need your hands to taste the tea, but I'm glad they smell like soap and not something else.
I have to hold the cup. Yeah, I'm really smelling almost chamomile. What did I say was in it? Citrus, juicy citrus. Okay.
Ugh, stop saying juicy.
I mean, it's better than moist. Okay.
I was going to say it's the moist of beverages.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. I feel like the kombucha lady. You know that meme?
She's processing the taste. What do you got for us?
It tastes a little medicinal.
Mmm.
Very herbal. No body, of course.
Of course.
It's a little sticky in the mouth.
Oof.
Super medicinal. Like that. You know those like wellness teas? I guess this is what a wellness tea is. These are wellness teas.
You mean that are called Purity? Yeah, I've heard of
Purify.
them.
I'm not taking a Purity tea.
Whoops, sorry. Purify.
Yeah, I feel this is going to purify me. Maybe I'll stop thinking of stabbing soft spots. It'll purify my mind. I
don't think so. I think that one's here to stay.
It does. Yeah, it smells very woody, herbal, tastes medicinal. It doesn't have body, but it's a nice sip for an herbal tea. Like it fills the mouth.
This sounds disgusting. Cool.
No.
So what's your rating?
No. I'm going to give it a healthy thumbs up.
Getting so good with your ratings.
Thanks.
All right. One healthy thumbs up for a tea that sounds disgusting to me, but cool. All right. For today, I'm going to talk about two different women, but their cases are similar regarding the outcome. We talk a lot about how women are perceived once they're caught.
Yeah.
We see very common themes, right? Like if it's a couple, then it's always the woman's fault.
Mm-hmm.
She's lured the man to do these terrible things, and he would have been totally fine if she'd just left him alone. If the woman is on trial by herself, then how she appears to the public seems to make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
No matter, even if it seems to be the same crime. The case about Jean Harris, because she refused to appear a certain way, like helpless and weak and fragile in court, then she got a really, really long sentence for other women who got much less.
Right.
But it also works the other way, right? Like Lizzie Borden, they were like, I don't know, she's a lady. Can she even lift an axe?
Right.
Nobody knows. So these cases, these women were so accepted by the public and the media for their acts so quickly. And I don't know if it was an act that they put on or if this is just naturally how they were. Because, some people are going to appear like that. But these women from the start, the media was just enveloping them in it's not her fault.
Huh.
And so it's fascinating to me because this is not to me so much of a gray area, like Julia Tofano, where she killed a bunch of guys, but it's because they were hurting and beating women.
Right.
This one's a little bit like, well, maybe things weren't going as you expected. And you just you made a choice here. So I want to tell you both about these cases and see what you think.
Okay.
So the first woman, her name is Katie Cook, and this happened in Santa Ana. Santa Ana, California in the late 1800s. So at the age of 27, Katie Cook marries Tom Cook. Well, Katie Pope at the time marries Tom Cook. Now, Tom has recently been widowed. And so he's a little older than Katie. Because 27, actually, I was surprised. I think that's
pretty old
to be married. Tom is probably 20-ish years older than her. His birth date is not set in stone. So he's in his late 40s-ish, right? But he's very wealthy in the way that you are in the late 1800s. He has 90 acres of land.
Wow. Is it from... I'm trying to imagine what Santa Ana would be like in the late 1800s. It's all about gold at that point, right?
Do I have a topographical map handy? No, I don't. Why not? Well, because it's a true crime podcast and nobody gives a shit about the landscape at the time. But let's take a minute to ponder what 90 acres looked like in 1897, shall we? Okay. So
Wild West, baby.
Anyway, he's well respected because he's so wealthy, and he's well known for being a good businessman. Obviously, he's doing something right, but he's not necessarily likable. He's possibly argumentative, like a little bit of a grump, but his farmhands describe him as fair,
like me,
but stern.
Okay, that's like me.
We'll see. That's not like you, so we'll see. And Katie had grown up on a ranch in the area. Her father, Henry Pope, was also a pretty wealthy guy. So this to her is a world she knows.
Okay, it's a good match.
Yeah, it's a world she knows. He's a little older, but she's expecting to run a very successful Christian household. And everything appears fine to the general public.
Oh my God, what's going to happen?
Well, in 1898, Tom gets himself in a little bit of trouble.
Oh boy.
One of their neighbors, and neighbors at this time, if on 90 acres is a lot different than neighbors today. He's not seeing this guy every day, right?
Okay.
I mean, it's like a bordering property.
Yeah, it's
so you're probably barely running into them.
Yeah, like maybe if you go down to the general market in town.
Cool. Did you hit the slow-mo button on that?
Well, I'm trying to think of the old West towns, and they have the general market where you can get like bubble gum and cigarettes. Well, maybe not bubblegum. I don't know what it was invented. Okay, sorry, just go.
It's exactly what Tom. He's like, I'm gonna need me some big league chew. I'll see you later. Anyway, so this guy, Grigsby is his last name. In multiple sources, his first name is Jasper, John, or Jack. I don't know.
Maybe it's all three.
Maybe. I'm thinking maybe Jasper is his legal name and people nicknamed him John or Jack.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jasper, John, Jack says that Tom is slandering his wife around town.
Really?
I don't know what an 1898 slander is, but I imagine it's pretty mild. But it's enough that Grigsby says something along the lines of, if I ever see Tom, or when I see Tom, I'm going to just shoot him.
Oh my God. But why is Tom talking shit? Maybe he said ass too many times.
It's probably a lot of donkeys just going roaming the fields. And Tom hears this from somebody, I don't know. And he says, all right, pick the day, dude. I'm ready anytime, any day. God. Yeah, ready to duel.
We're in a Clint Eastwood film.
Yeah, Tom's not taking any crap. So one day, the two happen upon each other, probably both on their way to get bubblegum,
probably.
I'm guessing. And they're not alone. They each are with another man.
Well, because you need another person to be your second.
I don't think it was intentional. It sounds like they happened upon each other.
Well, it's pretty convenient to have your second with you. So, just saying.
Grigsby reaches for the gun. His holster sticks, which gives Tom the advantage, and Grigsby's shot.
Should have bought that grease from the general market there, bub.
Shot to the ground. I think a button might have got him, but shot to the ground. And he doesn't die right away. He actually lives for a full day. And then he passes away the following day.
Do you know where he's shot?
I think in the torso.
So it could be a tough part or it could be a soft part. We don't know.
But yeah, there's so many. Get that map out. Tom is taken into jail and charged with the murder of Jasper John Jack Grigsby. And Grigsby is quoted as saying before he dies that he never had a gun. He was not reaching for a gun. And that he was shot in cold blood. And he says he was shot because he cut the fence between their yards. Cold-blooded, if that's true. And then he dies.
But there's two other people.
Yeah, but Tom and the witnesses say, or at least Tom's witness, say that he reached for a gun and Tom reached for his gun. And so his defense is that it was self-defense. Now, during this time, he owns 90 acres of land. He deeds this to Katie temporarily in case something happens to him.
Good.
So Katie owns all the land now. Tom is actually set free, and it is ruled as self-defense.
Okay.
And he's free to go home. But this whole trial has really turned. I feel like people were on the fence about Tom anyway.
Oh.
And this whole trial has really turned the public opinion of Tom at this point. They think that he may have shot Grigsby in cold blood. He also got into another duel with his own brother. And apparently, his brother only survived because of some kind of divine intervention. Something happened that caused Tom to miss, and Tom doesn't usually miss.
God. I mean, he sounds like more than stern and grumpy. He sounds like he has a temper problem.
Yeah, and I think maybe people were afraid to say it before.
I see.
But now things are changing a little bit, and people are being a little bit more free. Now, behind closed doors, Katie will later say that Tom was unbearable, that he was always hitting on the domestic servants, that he was grabbing them, that he was leering at them.
Well, then I believe Grigsby.
And that Tom was addicted to pornography, which in
Wait. What is it?
In the 1890s, it's basically just dirty poetry.
Stop. That's amazing.
And he used to read it out loud, and Katie really hated it, apparently. There's also one source says that Tom made a servant come into the room, a female servant, and strip naked in front of him and Katie was mortified.
Ew.
She's a solid Christian woman, and it's very important that she's in charge of the household. Things are going awry for her.
Tom is not shaping up well.
Katie starts falling into despair about this. She's not sleeping. She's crying. She's losing weight. She's just upset. This is not what she was imagining. Tom doesn't care.
Of course
he starts an affair with one of the servants. Her name is Mabel Moody.
Consensual?
Well, here's the thing. Mabel is 18, and Tom
he's like fucking 50.
He's 50 and her boss. So draw your own conclusions on how consensual this is and how...
Can you say her name again?
Mabel Moody. Isn't it the best name?
That's a fake name.
No, it's not.
That's ridiculous. That's found in a Clue game.
Well, that's her name.
It was Mabel Moody with the chamber pot.
It was in the newspaper. Anyway, so I don't know. But Mabel's only there for 2 weeks in total. And in the summer, this is in the summer of 1899. So she's there for 2 weeks. After week 1,
turn of a century,
Tom starts sneaking into Mabel's room at night, apparently. Their bedrooms actually adjoin through a closet door, and Tom would sneak in through the closet and go to Mabel's room.
Gross.
Yeah. On August 28th, Tom returns from one of these sojourns, and Katie is pissed. She says she talked to him and said, you need to stop this. You need to correct your ways, ask for forgiveness, come back to my bed, literally, because Tom's sleeping on the floor at this point.
Why?
I don't know. Some people say it's a couch, but then they say a couch on the floor. I don't know what that means.
I mean, couches are on floors.
Tom's not in the bed.
Okay.
Everything's on the floor, technically. Tom's not in their marital bed, okay? And Katie's giving him a chance to correct his ways.
This is before the shooting?
You almost said shitting. It's before
he
both.
Shot himself, too.
This is August 28th. This is the night of the shooting. Okay. So she's begging with him. He's just come back. It's the early hours of the morning. God, and the paper quotes him as saying, if you don't like the way I do, then you better go to hell, and I'll find someone else who will like me better.
That's a good attitude.
Now, hell is an assumption on my part because the newspaper would not publish that. It was just a line.
Stop it. God, I love it.
Could not say hell. So I'm going to assume.
Oh, this was the one you had texted me that you were loving reading all these newspaper articles.
Yeah, these articles are amazing. So for all we know, Tom could have told her to go to the bathroom. But I'm going to assume he said go to hell. But it was, full disclosure, it was crossed out. And after he says that, Tom goes into his little couch bed on the floor and he falls promptly asleep. Tom's been up for hours. He's been busy. Whatever he's been doing in the closet, it's taking a toll on him. He's going to bed. Katie sits there in bed just fuming.
Yeah, stab him.
Now, some accounts say she went to the dresser to retrieve the weapon. Others say she was so mad she just kept grabbing the covers and then realized that she was actually grabbing the gun that Tom kept under his pillow. I don't know which one is true. Either way, Katie finds a gun in her hand that is the exact same gun that has killed Grigsby.
Oh.
And she walks up to Tom, who's asleep, and she shoots him right in the head. He doesn't even wake up. He's dead instantly. She runs into Mabel's room.
And puts the gun on her thing.
What?
Like it makes it set her up. Set up Mabel.
Oh, if only she was that crafty. Jim Barton, who is the ranch hand who lives in the house, he hears the gunshot, which wakes him up, and he's startled. And
well, sure, it's loud as hell.
He's listening, and he hears shouting, so he runs to see what's going on. And Katie is yelling at Mabel. She's got the gun in one hand, and she's hitting her with the other, but she didn't shoot Mabel.
Is she like, why are you sleeping with my husband?
Basically, yeah. She said, this is all your fault. You took him from me. This is your fault. Look what you've done.
No, it's always the man's fault. Well, not the man. I'm saying it's always the person who's doing the cheating's fault. Don't take it out on the cheatee.
I think the murder is Katie's fault, in my opinion. You just shot him.
No, I'm saying, yeah. But I'm saying, like, and always in these situations where somebody's cheating on the other person, they go after the other person instead of the cheater.
Instead of their husband or wife,
like,
yeah.
That's... Anyway.
So Jim sees that Tom is dead, and he calms Katie down so she doesn't hurt Mabel, and then he calls for help, right? The sheriff and all that.
And it's pretty obvious that Katie did this at this point, right? To Jim, at least.
Yeah, has a smoking gun.
Right, literally, smoking gun.
Katie's arrested and charged with murder, and she admits it. She says she doesn't really remember it. It all was kind of a blur, but yeah, I did it. So they have the weapon, they have the body, they have a confession. Open shut.
And they're not going to charge her. Is this one of these ones?
Well, the paper the next day, the Los Angeles Herald, writes,
wow.
This is the headline. When human nature could stand it no longer, Mrs. Cook took deadly vengeance into her own hands. And then they say, grossly unfaithful to his wife and flaunting his illicit passion before her eyes, the outraged woman at last took vengeance into her own hands, and with the same revolver with which Cook killed Jasper Grigsby.
This is great writing.
I know. Cook was a man about 50 years of age, a man of gross and violent passions.
Sounds like it.
Who was notoriously unfaithful to his wife, and whose record had long been reprobated by the people of the neighborhood. So they were setting her up already to be Tom as the villain, and Katie had no choice. He'd been cheating on her a whole week, for God's sakes. Poor thing. So Katie says Tom ignored her, and he wasn't secretive about it. And, you know, he's always hitting on people, that he was sleeping on the floor. He was going to Mabel's room. But her story is a little bit all over the place, too. She says that she got the gun from a dresser. She says she got it from under the pillow.
Wow.
She's not making sense. I don't know. It's a little bit Lizzie Borden-ish over here.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know some details. And the town believes that Katie did it, but they also believe that Katie did them all a favor.
Huh, interesting.
That's the general consensus.
Like got rid of just like a shit ass.
Yeah. Excellent. So Jim Barton, the ranch hand who heard it and came running, he'd only been there since June. So he'd only been there about 2 months. He's suddenly taking care of everything. He's arranging for Katie's legal defense. He arranges the funeral. He's really throwing himself in there.
In where?
And he visits Katie a lot in jail. And he visits for so long that it becomes awkward, and Katie feels the need to explain why he's been there for an hour and a half. One time he was there for 90 minutes, and after he left, she realized it was weird, I think, and she says, oh, Jim didn't know what to do because the chickens got into the celery. And the Los Angeles Herald actually wrote, an hour and a half to tell Jim to coop them up or kill them? That's weird.
That's funny.
So if you remember, at the time of Tom's arrest, he deeded everything to Katie.
Yeah.
Right? Well, then as soon as he was free, he deeded it back to himself.
Oh, man.
There are witnesses. Everybody saw it happen. But guess what? There's no paperwork. They can't find it. So everything's still Katie's.
That's it?
They don't know what happened. Everything is still technically Katie's. But because Katie's in prison...
She put it in the goddamn fire. That's where it went.
What are you talking about?
The paperwork.
Well, it should be recorded in front of witnesses, and then it should be put into like an office. It's not like they keep it around the house forever. I mean, I guess maybe she was supposed to bring it, but So her father, Henry Pope, is, I guess, like the executor of the will. He's supposed to oversee it, but technically everything is Katie's. And Tom's mother is still alive and she needs assistance. She needs money. She's not a wealthy woman. And so Tom had wanted to give her some of the land. And Henry knew this. And so he's like, okay, cool. And he starts drawing up proposals for that. And Katie, no, I don't want to give her anything. And Jim's like, you shouldn't give her anything. Huh. And Jim and Henry get into this huge fight. So Jim Barton, the ranch hand, and Henry, Katie's father, get into this huge fight because Jim basically says, listen, you can do what you want with any of the property, but I run the ranch now.
Okay, relax.
Jim's getting too big for his britches.
No kidding.
And on several occasions, her mother-in-law, Katie's mother-in-law, Mrs. Cook, has filed suits to say that she is the heir to some of this land so that she can live off it and support herself. And on 2 separate occasions, Katie comes to an agreement and says, if you drop the suit, I'll give you, X amount of acres. And the mother says, that's fine. Thank you. I appreciate it. I want to work this out. And then as soon as Katie gets home, she goes back on what she promised.
Nice.
As soon as the suit is dropped. So everybody thinks this is Jim's influence.
God.
I don't know if it's Jim's influence or not, but that's what's going on.
Well, women can't be nasty, so.
I know, right? Now, the jury deliberates for 15 minutes, and they come back with a not guilty verdict.
She literally, she confessed? I mean, she had the gun. It's all there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how can you...
She's guilty. Like, maybe there was some justification to it, like, more so than other cases, but she's still guilty.
Yeah. I mean, this is not like guilty by temporary insanity or manslaughter. They were just like, nah, we're good.
Oh my God.
Not guilty.
That's crazy.
I mean, I've never, that happens so rarely. She was totally acquitted for this. And she says that she did it. Yes, ma'am. Question.
I forgot. I got so nervous. Wait. Oh, was the jury made up of the neighbors?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Some of them were like, well, just glad we don't have to worry about cutting his fence anymore. A man actually said that. He's like, whew, I was really worried if I cut his fence, he'd kill me. So, whew, load off my mind.
Well, that may be part of it.
Yeah. So Katie is acquitted. She goes back home and she marries Jim Barton pretty quick.
I have another question.
Yeah.
What kind of accents do you think they have? Like, Californians don't really have accents nowadays. But do you think they had Oklahoma accents back then?
I have no idea.
Okay, maybe I'll do some research.
I couldn't tell from reading the newspaper.
So we're pretty sure that Jim and Katie were doing...
Right? Do you think they planned this? So that's the question people have nowadays. Do you think Jim and Katie actually planned this?
That makes it worse because she was being all righteous Christian stuff and cheating herself maybe.
Now Mabel, the other character in this little story, she claims that she was not having an affair with Tom. Again, I feel like Mabel's in a pretty bad position no matter which way you look. I don't think it's really her choice if Tom decides that he wants to have an affair. She doesn't have a lot of options available to her. She might have to pretend that she's interested.
Yeah.
Also, if she was, I don't know why she would admit it at that point because it's her whole reputation at stake. Yeah. What's done is done with Tom. And the paper,
right? He's
the paper
guy.
Actually wrote. This is also from the Los Angeles Herald about Mabel. It is said she was innocent and pure when she went to work at the Cook household. Ew, none of your business. So basically what they're saying is she was a virgin before that.
No, I got that.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Thanks for translation. I have my purity tea. So
yeah, purity tea really worked. So I don't know. She says that wasn't happening. I mean, who knows? Maybe Tom was just drinking in the closet till 3 a.m. and Katie went nuts. I don't know if Jim and Katie just got together right after or they had started being together or this was how they could be together. But Jim seemed pretty pleased to now basically own the ranch. He went from ranch hand to wealthy ranch owner, and he made sure Katie did not give away any of the acreage.
Yeah, that's a little sketch.
I think it's a big risk for Katie to do it and then confess and think that she's going to get off. It seems like she probably...
that's a good point.
If they could have said it was an intruder or something else, I think she probably...
It was probably unplanned. It was probably the passion.
Unplanned, and they made the best of it.
And she got lucky as hell, eh?
Yeah.
Well, don't publish the hell word, please.
Yeah, lucky as line. I mean, I think she got away with murder. Now, whether or not Tom was the nicest guy in the world, it shouldn't technically matter in the eyes of justice.
Like you shouldn't murder someone because they cheat on you, but like you get it why they're mad, but like maybe, well, can she get divorced at this point? I don't know. They're not great options for her.
If Tom's already sleeping on the floor, then just be like, cool, you sleep on the floor. Bye. I'm going to go sleep in another room.
She cares so much about her reputation.
Like, that's really always what the problem is, right?
It's pride.
Is that people care way too much about what other people think.
It's a huge problem in society, I'd say.
Anyway, so that is the ending for Tom Cook. Whether you like him or you hate him.
Well, it's a good ending for them.
They lived happily ever after. There's another woman who's very similar. This takes place in 1916, so it's just a little bit later, and it's in Salt Lake City. The headline for this was, "Her loved repulsed, woman kills lawyer." That's what happened.
Oh.
So the woman they're referring to is Amy Hill. Now, Amy Hill was married at a very young age to a man named W.J. Hill, and they had 4 children together. And I'm not sure exactly the date she was married, but by the time she was 38, she was already technically a grandmother.
Okay.
So must have been pretty young. And Amy and Mr. Hill were said to be perfectly happy, according to Mr. Hill, which I don't necessarily believe. But anyway, a man named Ross Bonney. Go ahead and riff off that name for a minute. I know you want to.
Ross Bonney.
There it is. I thought you were going to go nuts with it. He becomes infatuated with Amy, and he pursues her intensely.
Is that the lawyer?
That's the lawyer. Sorry, Ross. You're about to have a rough couple of years. He convinces Amy to run away with him, which is no small feat in the early 1900s, I would say.
Wow.
And she leaves her children. She runs away with Ross Bonney. Now, Ross is in his early 30s at the time, and he is a lawyer, like you mentioned, went to the University of Michigan for law school. He's also been previously married but divorced. He is a divorce attorney. So he seems to be given divorces left and right here, which is
interesting.
I mean, so it's happening. It's happening right now in this time period.
Yeah.
So Amy leaves her husband, but Mr. Hill WJ won't grant the divorce right away. He won't grant it. So there has to be something going on there where the husband needs to grant it because that's the law. He won't. So Amy moves in with Ross, and he also has, in addition to being a lawyer, he also has like an inn of sorts or a boarding house, and Amy pretends to be his live-in help. And they're carrying on their affair, and she just works there as the maid.
Interesting.
Now, after 2 years of this, Amy's husband, Mr. Hill, says, you know what, I give up. I can't do this anymore. Like, just do what you want to do. And he grants the divorce, and then he moves out of the state with the children, and he remarries.
Wow. So he takes the children.
Yeah. The couple relocate, and everyone at that point, when they relocate, just assumes that they're husband and wife, even though they are not.
Okay.
But they just pretend that they are. Amy misses her children very much.
Yeah.
Like you would. And she receives a letter one day from her ex-husband letting her know that one of their children has passed away due to an illness.
Oh, no.
And she's devastated. Devastated that she wasn't there, that she hadn't seen her in a couple years.
What was
that she misses her other
going
children.
around in the 20s?
Oh, God, here
Scarlet
we go.
fever.
I don't know what it was. I don't know. So Amy is very...
That's really sad.
Yeah, she's very upset, but at the same time, it was her choice. And when this happens, the only way she can see in her mind to correct this is by marrying Ross, because he has not yet married her and he promised he would. And so to make this all worth it for her...
Oh, I see.
She needs Ross to marry her.
I mean, it's a smart thing to do anyways, I think.
What?
To protect herself.
To get married?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's not like she can just move to Idaho and live in a cabin next to her kids now.
Yeah.
That's where her kids moved to. So she's really struggling at this point. And I mean, in every sense of the word, Amy considers them married. They live together. You know, they're together. What's that? The phrase we like? Oh, like a man and a woman. Amy's like friends with his family. She's very close to his siblings.
Huh. Weird.
And she's entangled in this Ross Bonney world, and she's just thinking a marriage proposal. Well, he's told her that they'd get married, so she's just thinking actual ceremony will come any day. Side note for old Ross Bonney, I told you he's divorced. He also likes to date his clients.
That's really
and then
good.
secure them divorces. Yeah. He also seems a little shady. He bends the law quite a bit. There was a man who was on trial for what we would call human trafficking today. A white woman was basically forced to be his prostitute or forced into prostitution, and Bonnie snuck her into the courtroom to marry the accused so that she couldn't testify against him.
No, that's not okay.
Yeah. And he was pretty proud of it.
Ew,
like, thinks he's pretty clever.
Fuck you, Ross.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. So after 5 years of this weird marriage purgatory.
Don't trust this guy, man.
I know, he sounds like a real catch. Amy starts following Ross, off to a great start.
Ooh.
And she sees him at the theater with one of his clients.
Shocker.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all saw that coming. She goes to his sister, Winnie. Her last name is Vincent. She's married, so Winnie Vincent.
I love that name.
Winnie loves Amy. She's like, you know what? You're right. Ross needs to marry you. Enough already. Marriage is clearly the only option. Yeah. Let's go talk to him. Like, that's all we can do is get you married. That's all that's available. So on November 9th of 1916, which happens to be the anniversary of the day that Amy left her family to be with Ross, just FYI, both Amy and Winnie go to his office. Amy pleads with him to marry her, and Winnie's backing her up the whole time. Ross is just kind of sitting there quietly, taking it all in, probably thinking of other things in his head. And the sister tries to get Amy to leave to talk to her brother alone, thinking she can convince him. Ross interrupts and says, I haven't time to listen anymore. Ew. And then he makes a comment about how he's going to go to a different town, which is the town where his mistress lives.
I don't like him.
And he gets up and starts to put on his hat and his jacket. Amy takes a gun out of her muff and shoots him point blank range in the face.
Hold on.
He drops to the ground.
Wait.
Muff, that's what it's called.
No, it's not.
Yes,
There's no way.
Yes.
What is a muff?
It's the thing that holds your hands in to keep them warm.
Like a cuff?
No, oh my God. It's like.
It's a muff?
It's called a muff. It's like, like ear muff.
You know what? I don't know what she's pulling out of her muff, but I don't know.
Oh God, now I gotta double check because now I'm terrified. No, it's like I don't know. It's like made of fur. And you put your hands in it to keep them warm. A muff, a tube made of fur or other warm material into which the hands are placed for warmth. Okay? That's from Oxford. Okay. So back off, lady. Yeah, she pulled it out of her hand warmer. Right?
Pulled it out of her own tube.
She pulled her hand warming tube, and she shoots poor Ross in the face. Again, you're getting distracted and not staying on topic. A man is dead. And you're worried about a possible concealment of a weapon. Anyway, at this point, Winnie freaks out because her brother's dead. And she tries to get the gun from Amy, and Amy's like, nah. And she stands over Ross and shoots him again in the face.
Oh, that, you know what they say? I mean, I'm not the crime expert here, but when you shoot in the face, it's personal.
Who says that? Did you catch an episode of Sopranos?
No, it's a thing. Look it up. When you shoot in the face, it's personal. Anyway,
at this point, Winnie just drops to her knees and sobs over her brother. Mm-hmm. Amy leaves.
That's got to be really gross too. Like, imagine you kill him and then you shoot him in the face point blank range. Like, imagine the spatter and gore from that. So sorry, Winnie. Please continue.
I think Winnie was in the distance, so I think it was a pretty clean shot. Anyway, Amy leaves. 2 lawyers from adjoining offices obviously hear this, and they come running to find Winnie, crying, sobbing. Amy doesn't go far. She just goes to the elevator, which at this point has an elevator man, which sounds like such a great
hiding spot.
No, she's not hiding. She just hands the gun to the elevator man.
Watch out, that thing was in her muff.
It was. So it's very warm. She hands it to the elevator man, and she says, I've shot Bonnie, call a doctor. And then she just waits. It's like, I'll just wait here. Now, when the police arrive, Amy tells police that she's pregnant. However, the newspapers will not print that word. So
pregnant.
They won't say it.
What?
Police say they found Amy pacing in front of the elevator, mumbling to herself, saying, oh, Bonnie, why didn't you make it right? You promised me you would when I told you my condition.
Oh, always a condition.
And then they use a word that I've never ever heard of, and I had to look it up, and it means pregnant. And she's pregnant as a result of her relationship with Bonnie. Yeah, duh. I mean,
what was the word?
I honestly don't. I don't know if it's ancient or incent, but anyway, it meant pregnant. And Word tried to correct it to pregnant when I was taking notes.
Huh.
Yeah. So she says, like, he promised to marry me this whole time. And then especially since I've been pregnant, and then he really promised. And my plan was to go there and force him to marry me. So it's a solid plan. One foundation of a long-lasting, happy relationship.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So they take Amy in. She's hysterical. That always comes down on women. Like, you remember, any woman who acts cool, calm, and collected is a villain.
Yeah.
But if you're just a puddle,
then you're just, it's her emotions.
Yeah, then it works for you, which is, everybody's different, right? Like, some people don't cry under stress, and because of that, it could cost their lives.
All right, go to jail, see ya.
So she's hysterical, sobbing, near collapse, and she said, I gave up my husband, my children, my home for Bonnie because I loved him. 4 years ago, he told me it would be the happiest moment of his life when he should be married. I loved him, and because of that love, I sinned and tried to live only for him. After we had lived together for a while, he did not seem the same. I was happy even in the thought of my sins, but when I learned I was about to become a mother, I believe he loved me enough to save me from disgrace.
False.
Oh, boy. And then she falls into her cot and is inconsolable. She's sobbing, crying, saying she didn't mean to kill him, that she wished that she was dead so that they can be together. I mean, she's really struggling.
Yikes.
And here's the twist in this case, right? So you can see where Amy's drawing public sympathy, because Ross is not maybe the nicest either.
Yeah.
And she's pregnant, and she's just a weeping mess. Through her entire arraignment, she couldn't even speak because she was just crying. And then to top it off, Ross's family supports Amy.
What?
Yeah. So Winnie, who is the only witness to this crime, actually testifies for the defense.
And says what?
She says, I urged my brother to marry Mrs. Hill because that would wipe the slate clean for both of them. Marriage is the only future open to a woman with a past. And then she got down off the stand in tears and went over to Amy and gave her a big hug.
Wow.
Ross's brother said, I want the woman to know that we hope she will take the matter as lightly as possible. We bear no malice toward her. My brother and she occasionally came out to our house, and they seemed on good terms. My brother was a good boy. He was of kindly disposition, and the family feels that the crime was committed at a time when the woman did not realize what she was doing.
Wow.
That's a forgiving family.
Yeah, no kidding.
So obviously she's arrested, charged with first-degree murder. She pleads not guilty. She's a mess. And then in March of 1917, Amy decides to change that plea in order to get a lesser sentence. And so she pleads guilty. She's found guilty of manslaughter, but she's sentenced to 9 months in prison.
It's going to teach her a lesson.
Well, then she'd already been in prison for several months waiting for trial.
She's going to have a baby.
And then they decided to pardon her after just a little bit of time, because it wasn't fair. Jail's too harsh. That's too much. And they just let her go free.
God.
They didn't put her on probation. They pardoned her.
God.
I'm like, you're good. Go ahead, have a nice life.
Wow.
So I don't know if she actually was pregnant. I could not find anything about her after this incident. I assume she got married. She had to have gotten married. It's the only way to survive. I don't know if she was pregnant and carried to term. I assume she wasn't lying about it, but there are no articles about her giving birth. She would have been super pregnant by the time she was freed.
Huh.
So I'm not sure, but Ross's family backed her up. They were like, yeah, she's a divorced woman. She doesn't have any choices. My brother should have married her. That's fair.
Wild.
Right? And that's like, I get it. Like, Ross is kind of a jerk, but you've left a man before. Just do it again.
Right.
Do it again. You're not married to him. Thank God. Go leave him. Go find another dude if that's what you need.
She was in love.
He sounds like a real charmer.
Yeah, he sounds like a stand-up pal.
Those are two women who presented to the world just a fragile mess, and they were like, yeah. And I think it helps that the guys were not the greatest.
That's crazy.
If they had been really, really liked, I think it would have been totally different.
Yeah.
And then it would have been amazing to see how it was spun the other way. Like, I am shocked that they didn't paint Amy as a nymphomaniac who left her family for lust and passion and abandoned her children. Like, that never came up. That is a common theme that people like to pull on. So, I mean, this is an unmarried woman living with a man, and they were just like, yeah, no, that's on him. That's on him.
That is crazy. Why they're just not held accountable? Because it's still murder.
Yeah, I mean, she basically was just let go after the trial. She had to stay in jail for waiting.
She shot someone in the face.
Twice,
which is a very personal crime.
I mean, she went to his office with the gun.
And her muff.
Yeah, so. Which Alana is just learning is a term. Look, I had one when I was a kid.
I'm not Googling that.
It's just a fur tube.
Stop saying that. I have some advice, and not concerning a muff. Don't live for someone. Because you can't control other people. You can't control how they feel, what they do, their lives, anything like that. Even if you're in a wonderful, loving relationship, you can't live for someone else. You have to live for yourself and, be in love, whatever you want to do. But that's when it gets dangerous, and this is what happens. I mean, you might not murder somebody, but it could lead you to those feelings. And it sets you up to just let yourself be treated like trash because, like, it's worth it. I'm living for him. And you just do crazy stuff for it. It's just not worth it. You forget yourself.
I would argue that these women, were they living in a different time period, it would have been a different outcome. I think they would have just left their husbands if that was more commonplace and acceptable. And so the fact that the pressures of society can walk you up to the point where you're contemplating killing somebody or harming yourself, you got to take a little look-see at what's going on there. Yeah. And make sure that you are, just like you said, living for yourself, not who cares about Tom and Ross. If they're not treating you well, then just go live with the ranch hand, Katie. Get out of here.
Respect yourself. You're worth it, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, bad choices. Yeah, the fact that the fact that they got to those choices. I honestly have more sympathy. This might sound weird, but I have more sympathy for Amy than I do for Katie. I don't know why. I feel like Amy literally lost her mind for a minute.
Like, just got so upset.
I feel like Katie was really plotting some stuff for a while.
Yeah, the whole gem thing is a little fishy.
But who knows? I mean, they both essentially are the same crime.
And they both had chamber pots, right? I need to look when that was transitioned to better technology.
Yeah, please do, because you asked
need a benchmark
about that. You need to reference this so we have a sticking point of when a toilet was around.
Make a little post-it of all these things. Chamber pots and then other dates.
Yeah, World Wars have those in there as well. Yeah. I don't know how you're going to handle your geography questions. I got nothing for you.
No, that's going to have to be a post-episode research.
All right. So are those your last words, or did you have others?
No, that was it. I really want to underline that. Live for yourself.
All right. Well, next week starts our spooky season, doesn't it?
Spooky.
It's so terrifying. For the month of October, we're doing the exact same format, which is Alana knows nothing about the true crime. And it's from the woman's point of view so that Alana doesn't cry. And it's going to be with some Halloween or some spooky themes. Ooh, it's going to be exciting stuff.
Very fun.
All right. So you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram at
Tea Time Crimes.
You can email us at
teatimecrimes@gmail.com. You can send us story ideas. You can send us tea suggestions. They don't even have to taste good. Like, if you just had a weird tea or like a disgusting one, feel free to mention that too, and I'll try it.
Yeah, send her the most disgusting tea you can think of. That's always that's what I like, honestly.
Just make it interesting.
And send me story recommendations, and I will tell Alana not to look them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and rate, review, like, subscribe, do all that jazz wherever you listen to your podcast. Yes, please do. Oh, and who should listen today?
Like, tell your friends. Tell your muff creators. Just gotta get those. Tell your ranch hands, your neighbors, even if they're 90 acres away, please make the trip. Or you could text
and cutting
them.
your fences and talking about your wife, Jam.
Tell your lawyers. Who else?
Your sisters. Winnie's.
Yeah, your sisters.
Poor Winnie.
And maybe the jury that you volunteer for next. No, it's not volunteer. It's civic mandate, I think, actually.
All right. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll be back next week with spooky tea time crimes. Bye.